guys, and welcome again. So this is going to be a short deck tech video for the upcoming Dominaria United standard update. So our reference deck build here is the Gruul modified deck that has been became a popular deck choice in the format as of the late, just weeks prior to the rotation. And so we're going to try to adapt their current deck build to what Dominaria United will offer or can offer for this list. So going through this initial deck, you'll see a lot of new cards with the red borders in there. So these are the new cards I've added, which I think will be possible card that is going to replace the rest of those that are favoring the I forgot the modified setup, or which is the modified as the main strategy of this aggro deck. So we're going to check out again the creature choices, starting with the 2-drops. We still have the playset of Galagriters. So this is one of the essential new, or probably a core component of this build because of its various abilities that triggers when its alliance ability of having counters on it, creating a top treasure token or gaining 2 life if needed. So 4 copies, making sure that the succeeding creatures that you're going to play in the battlefield will have to benefit from it. Along with it, I've also considered 3 copies of a new card, Llanowar Loam Speaker. As you can see here, this is 2-drop Elf Druid, 1/3, in which you can tap it for mana in color, which basically ramps up your spells up to your Thundering Raiju or to your Shivan Devastator. And at the same time, in the late game, you can make your land become a 3/3 threat elemental with haste until end of turn. The sad news is that you can only activate it as a sorcery, which is still viable since having instant blockers will be very powerful for this type of card. So along with it, for the 2-drop, I've added the Red Has Firebrand. It is a total cost 3/1, wherein it has ability that whenever it attacks, target creature defending player controls with power less than Chandra's Firebrand's power can't block this turn. So basically, it's just a free bypass attack, wherein you can have a relevant or a champ blocker, which disables them to block for the turn. And at the same time, if you have enough mana for it, you can also basically pay for mana sink on the domain ability, wherein Radha can become +2/+2 until end of turn. So it is costless for 2 for each basic land type. So assuming we have forest and mountain, you can basically make this only for to activate. So still going to be effective block attacker, and at the same time a good 2-drop for the curve to not falter in this setup for being an aggro deck. So next we go with 4 copies of Yabimaya Iconoclast. So this is basically can be considered as 2-drop by its mana cost, but to make it more efficient, it becomes a 3-drop because when you play the kicker cost, it becomes +1/+1 and gain haste until end of turn. So basically, you can curve into Galagriters into Iconoclast attacking, or you can just go with a Llanowar Loam Speaker, create a mana or add any mana to cast Yabimaya Iconoclast on your next turns. So basically, it can be a good 2-drop on its own if you needed to curve out early, but at the same time having to kick it for just 1 red mana, it makes it an efficient and hasty attacker. With given that it has also trample, it becomes a 4/3 trample hasty creature. So I'll consider this under the 3-drop category because of those abilities. So along with it, we have a support card with Kodama Westry, also a good attacker on its own. It's a 3/3 creature, but since its ability to have your modified creatures trample and having them search for a basic land when deals combat damage, also a good way to ramp it up for your setup. So along with it, we have also the given cards, Thundering Raiju, which are not really no need to explain no matter in the setup. Hasty, putting impossible counters and dealing damage equal to the modified counters other than Thundering Raiju you control. And then along with it, we have Alana and Elena partners, which also put up percent counters for another target creature you control, depending on their power, and then you can make it that creature gain haste until end turn. So in the support of this setup of the creatures, we also have Invigorating Hot Spring. So 2 copies of this enchantment for the 3-drop. So it comes with 4% counters on it, and having a modified creature's haste, and at the same time you can remove a counter from Hot Spring and put it on a target creature you control, which you can activate just prior to your combat, which makes them hasty and 1% counter bigger until end of turn. I mean permanently because of that counter. But the good thing is that you can basically play out creatures that aren't haste but at the same time have percent counters added on them to make them attack at the same time. So our good mana sink here is the new card, Shivan Devastator. It is a mythic with X and red. So it has ability where flying haste. Whenever how many X of paid on that mana, it becomes that number of percent counters added on it as it enters the battlefield. So basically it is a good mana sink. You can cast it for 3 for a 2/2 flying haste. You can make it a 3/3, or at the late game you can, if you be able to top deck this one, is a good mana sink to pull out all of your mana, having it more than just a 3/3 or a 4/4, or going to the 5/5 or 6/6 if needed. So also having innovations basically making it a good attacker, and can basically make the win for you for an alpha strike in the air for your opponents, which is quite hard to deal with because of the flying ability. And at the same time, with that said of the support, having Hot Springs to make them haste, we also have several instants that are probably spot removals, given spot removals, and Tamiyo safekeeping to make sure that they would have hexproof or irresistible, and spot removals or mass removals against them would be nulled on that setup. But a new card that also we can consider here is the Return of Lightning Strike, which I've added 2 copies in the main to make sure that there are variants of the damage source, which also along with Kami Sprayer, so can also deal 2 damage to the permanent controller of the creature that it was dealt with, as long as you control a modified creature. In addition to that, the damage, you can also use Lightning Strike to just burn them out to the dome with 3 damage. So the rest for the setup, we would not go with the sideboard just yet, but we'll go lastly with this new lineup for the lands. So since the pathways are basically replaced and rotated out of this, so we'll have Carpusan Forest as 4 copies as the new cards or new dual lands to replace those, along with some utility cards such as Busiju from Kamigawa and Second Sun for red that can also produce 1/1 Crawler Spirits if needed. So along with it, Rockfall Vale, and Mountains and Forest. Sadly, we don't have any manlands to go with it, but I do hope that once the complete spoiler for Dominaria United is out, we can make slight changes in the lineup to creatures and maybe for the lands and the instance that if needed we can sub a 1 card or 2 to be efficient in the variants of the main deck setup. So that's about it. Overall lineup for this red-green modified setup for Dominaria United's post standard rotation. So you can see here the rest of the stats. Mana curve is at least 2 or 3, which is making it more efficient, and some tokens that you can use in the setup. So that's about it. Thank you for checking this video. You can check more by subscribing to the channel Deathmark TV for more Magic the Gathering content, Dominaria United news, updates, and other related info. Thank you for watching, and until the next time.